Hello and welcome back to the third game. So we've had some very long games today, two best of threes, leading to three matches, which has been unseen so far. And joining me for this match will be autocorrect.
Hello, everybody. Back for
Yep.
another game.
Yeah, one more game. So we've got Infamous Legion versus Immunizer, and we've got both teams are very impatient to get going here. So Infamous Legion, they're the number one seed against the number five seed. So in the Sky region. So what can we expect from both teams today?
Well, I kind of recognize these guys, and they're kind of good players, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're very good players. Spaghetti, Cassandra, VG players, VG tier players in every season. Cassandra, obviously known for playing in the World Invitationals and Seoul, as well as the VIPL Season 1, Season 2, as part of Infamous. So Spaghetti as well, also another very good player. Traditionally, they've been really strong in that Sky and Celeste, but with those characters being banned, I'm imagining they're going to be playing some other characters as well. We're seeing a lot of strong buff comps going in. Fortress really strong, which you're going to now see banned out, and Koshka as well. So, some very typical bans we've seen from day one of this tournament. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Yes, I think Infamous Legion are a very strong team. I do remember Immunizers playing. I was quite impressed with how they played. However, they're going to have to be working very, very hard to try and defeat the number one seed. Infamous, they have this, they are infamous throughout SEA. Pardon the pun. And Immunizers are really going to have to up their game. They were good before, they're going to have to get a lot better.
Yeah, so it should be a good game. As these rounds get kind of more and more contracted, you're going to start seeing higher level players, teams playing against each other. But, obviously Infamous with, a couple teams in the running here, 3 teams, I believe, are the favorite to win the tournament. But, anything can happen, as we saw with Liberation going out of the VGL early.
And this is the first time I've actually seen Infamous Legion play in the Tesseract Qualifier series so far. So far I've seen Spectre and I've seen Stigma play, and this is the first time I'm seeing Legion. So we've got an Adagio, Ozo, and Arden from Infamous, and we have Catherine, Glaive, and Vox. So the Immunizer have a double silence and 2 stuns on their team. So I think they've got a really nice team comp there.
Yeah, but I was just talking to Daniel as well, and kind of talking about the evangelizing how OP also is. So we'll see if Spaghetti also has been working with that OP Ozo. If he goes Crystal or if he goes Rome here, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, we've not actually seen Ozo that much, in the EU servers. He's been played, but he's been easily shut down. But so far, I've seen it work very well in the SE so far. And I think that one of the other Infamous teams did bring out that weapon Ozo, and they made it work very well.
Yeah, typically what you want to do is you get sustained, almost like how we saw the last game, how Black Feather was building, is kind of how you want to build out this weapon Ozo with that Serpent's Mask, with the little bit more tankiness, maybe a Shiver Steel in there, an Alice Pauldron or something, just getting a lot of sustain in the team fights. I'm seeing more damage done to minions than what you might see in the team fights once it gets that strong tanky build.
Yes. So, okay. So the double silence and stun. I actually think Immunizer could do it very well in the early game if they actually take advantage of it. If they do some early game ganks, Adagio is very easy to gank in the lane.
Yeah, I mean they're going, he's going with that Crystal, I believe. So that's that alternating current build. So again, as we saw in one of the previous games, if you manage to push him back a little bit, you can starve him and make it so that his late game alternating current doesn't come out until very late. And this is exactly what you're seeing Adagio doing here with that damage buff on himself. And Firm Swift is doing a good job of just keep maintaining vision inside that bush, so he doesn't have a scout trap to put in there for Cassandra, but his body is a scout trap. And so what he was doing there is letting Cassandra just get a little bit of a push there against us on Ed.
Yes, and yes, he's already put some nice vision. You know, he doesn't really have any vision there, but Immunizer do in that tri-bush and over on Infamous's side, so they do actually know where they are, and they're actually seeing this as a very good opportunity to gank. And you know, we can see Catherine coming out with the stun afterward, coming out punting Cassandra into that bush. However, he does actually look like he might be able to just get away with that very nice heal there. He's actually no, he's not. He's just died just in that turret there. So
Yeah,
that's
a
his
little bit
first
too
kill.
far there, you know, a little bit too far, but here comes Ozo in to finish up and get some kills. You can see how much damage he's doing even now. It's a really good counter for him, and they're going to back off, and that's going to let them rotate down a little bit, maybe to steal some farm here. We'll see.
Yeah, so that was actually a very nice play there coming out from, you know, like I said, very nice gank there from Catherine and Glaive. And then Ozo coming up, and now they're actually going into the enemy jungle to get that farm. However, they're actually not coming out too well, you know, so they've managed to take down Catherine, but farm stuff is looking very, very low. But
Look at the
doing
damage.
work.
Spaghetti getting the ace at the 2-minute and 50 mark, and this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Why Ozo, in my opinion, is going to be the next OP hero. You see him taking down 2 guys at once and just staying alive, and even Arden dying first before him.
Yeah. So our, you know, I think he's got that Ozo down. I think Ozo has quite a high skill tier cap. He's quite difficult to play, and I think not everyone can pull it off.
I think actually what he could have done even better there is get the bounce onto the Glaive, get the double and triple bounce. He only got the 1 bounce there onto the Vox, but had he seen Glaive coming down, get the bounce off of Vox Glaive back on the Vox, he would have completely deleted with that 3rd bounce. That's where all your damage is going to be sitting.
Yeah, and I've actually been very impressed by how he's playing so far. You know, oops, sorry, he's only got 9 farm compared to Spaghetti's 25. You know, they're really taking advantage of just invading constantly, and they're just kind of trying to starve the Glaive and Catherine out.
Yeah, and you're seeing them continue to push now. Once again, Spaghetti going to get this farm here. You know, and the other good thing about Ozo is he clears farm really fast with his weapon build, so he can come in and steal farm, but also on top of it, he is still very, very tanky, so he can kind of be independent. Doesn't always have to be babysat by Arden all the time.
Yes, and we're seeing another team fight breaking out, and oops, sorry, I was just going to try and run away, but we're seeing the Acrobats coming up to try and finish off the kill, and oops, sorry, there, but he's going to use his African to get away, and actually very nicely done, just stopping them from finishing the kill onto Catherine, so that was a very nice play coming out from Glaive there.
You saw a little bit of a slow reaction from Cassandra. Cassandra rotated down a little bit stronger, a little bit earlier than they would have gotten that kill. But, you know, again, you're seeing the pressure, just massive pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure there, and I think they're doing really well. They're pushing the turret down. It looks like all 3 might be going for that turret. You know, it's half health right now. This could be a very early turret if they do push for it.
Yeah, the other thing Spaghetti needs to be a little bit careful. He's okay right now, but needs to be a little bit careful. Does pick up that kill onto Catherine without getting any turret aggro, but again, you know, he needs to be a little bit careful when he's using his skills on that Catherine with the Stormguard up, because if he's doing a lot of damage, he's going to get a lot of damage. Look at that bounce. You're seeing that bounce there. That's exactly what I'm talking about with Ozo. Just that amazing bounce damage that he gets in the distance of the bounce. The distance of the bounce is what's ridiculous about Ozo right now.
I'm more amazed that Spaghetti actually managed to survive that, and Firm Swift. You know, he's taking a lot of turret aggro. You know, Glaive couldn't finish him off. So that is the first turret down in 5 minutes. You know, very nice play there coming out from Infamous Legion. Immunizer kind of struggling a little bit, trying to just stop this from happening, and I don't really know what they can do. I think we just need to see a little bit more better coordination, you know, stuns, kind of more chain stuns happening.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they need to do. They need to, Catherine needs to get a stun in early on that Ozo so that he can't get his bounce up, because once he gets that bounce, you can see in that end there, he can reach you from nearly anywhere. I've seen Ozos jump a quarter length of the map. I've seen an Ozo jump from the corner turret outside of your spawn all the way almost to that first turret in the lane. I've almost seen him jump that far. So it's ridiculous how far he can jump.
Yeah, he's got very good gap closes. But maybe what Catherine should be doing is when she's saving her stun for when Ozo jumps in. And when Ozo jumps near her, she should stun him, and then all the team could focus him down quite easily. But so far we're letting him, you know, we're seeing Immunizer let him finish all his jumps and deal that same amount of damage on the 3rd bounce.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is also this because, you know, in the early game, as you and I have seen in other games, the Adagio, lane Adagio with the crystal is super powerful because of his damage buff in the early game, and he can really push back somebody like a Vox, and that's why they were able to take down this turret really quickly, was because Vox just had nothing to withstand him. And at a 1v1, Cassandra's going to lead out Sync on Ed. And so you've got that kind of double threat there, and they just need to be patient and kind of wait a little bit longer for that late game.
Yeah, especially Vox. You know, he's going for that crystal, and he, you know, with that, he's not doing too much. You know, when he gets his oh, he's got his 2 or 3 item now. Speaking, he's got his alternating current, so he'll be doing a little bit more damage. When he gets that broken myth, he will be very, very powerful.
And he's got his alternate current now, but he's got no defense. So again, an Ozo could come in and wreck him. He could get poked from distance with a damage buff from Adagio. A lot of weapons right now, and they're focusing in on the objective really nicely. So, you know, Glaive is kind of just there. He needs to start initiating and knocking back a target.
Yeah, we're seeing a team fight breaking out. You know, that Tara, Tara is, thanks to that very nice heal, you know, they weren't able to focus on the turret. You know, the turret started hitting the Arden, and nothing really came out of that team fight, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Arden could have, Glaive could have right there, Afterburn, and knocked back Arden as he's taking that turret aggro, and they could have gotten that kill.
Yeah, well, look at Arden trying to finish off that Catherine. He's not able to finish off the Catherine, but, you know, they are going to pick up the kill onto Vox. However, Spaghetti does go down as well. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but it does leave that turret open while Glaive and the Catherine kind of rejuvenate their health.
Yeah, that turret's going down really fast. We're seeing it just get absolutely melted. Good buffs from Cassandra, knowing when to buff, knowing when to buff himself. So you're seeing a very clinical style of play from Infamous. Very well mechanics, a lot of good rotations, and really picking up the objectives over the kills in the early game. Because if you do that, you get pressure. Because early game kills isn't going to do much good as far as the objectives. If you can take objectives early, do it. Because the pressure that you can put on your teammates is going to be so much more.
Yeah, and, you know, we're looking at the tier 3 items that they just picked up. So you see Arden getting the Fountain, and Adagio getting the Shower Glass. It's a massive power spike right now for Infamous Legion with those insane tier 3 items coming out.
Yeah, but you're also looking at something that I keep saying to people, but they don't do, and that is for supports like EA Sync to pick up an early Crucible when you're facing that Adagio. I see so many people going for Fountain first, going for, you know, Aspaldron. One of the very rare situations when you should rush a Crucible as a support is when you play against that Adagio.
Yeah, so they do have that. They do have that Crucible now. But I think the last time that you used that Verse of Judgment, they actually blocked it. So I think she might have panic used it, or just, you know, not had it at that point. You know, I can't quite remember what the build was at the time.
And you're seeing here a Spaghetti going with that Sorrow Blade over the Serpent Smash, which is probably, you know, knowing the style. And there goes a silence from Sync, but by himself and low level. Here comes Spaghetti. Will he get the bounce off? No, because the silence comes in. He does use his Bangarang, knocks back Sync, but not far enough. Firm is going in. He's thirsty. He's going to get a stun. Nice stun from Catherine, but he survives miraculously. The Afterburn comes out late.
Yes, so that was very nice Verse of Judgment. They're kind of just saving from stuff and stunning the Glaive. They weren't able to pick up any kills there, but we saw, you know, when they did actually focus on Spaghetti, how squishy he was. It was very easy to kill. I mean, he doesn't have much defense. He's got an old cart. He's got a light armor. He can't really do much against him. So I think they're just more surprised that when he jumps in, they're a bit too like, whoa, what's happening? And the next, before they know it, they're dead.
Yeah, I think, you know, and I say on my stream too, when I run VG 101s, after your first tier 3 item, you should really be looking at picking up some defense, a tier 2 or tier 3 at least. And you're seeing Spaghetti go with more and more offense, but not enough defense. And that is a problem because he is naturally tanky, but his tankiness synergizes a lot more with defensive items. And here's a 3v1, but Arden gets out of there quickly. So again, you need Spaghetti to be building out tier 3 defense, at least 2 tier 3 defenses before he starts going super more offensive because of his natural damage and his abilities right now can carry him in this early to early mid game.
Yeah, so we're at 10 minutes now. 2 turrets are down. You know, it doesn't actually look that much impressive from the gold lead, but, you know, Infamous have a massive advantage right now. They've got that control over their jungle. We've been seeing them regularly going into Immunizer's jungle and just taking those creeps off them, just denying the creeps from Glaive and Catherine.
But despite all that, they're only about 4K behind, and it's only 7-4. So in the previous game, we saw, what, 13-1 or 10-1 with a 5K lead, and they're still in the game. So nothing is over yet. Sync on Ed, and there goes a gauntlet.
Yeah, but Dash was just taking the very long way around, and I think that gauntlet was wasted. You know, nothing really came of it. Cassandra wasn't with them, and I think that the problem with that was that they just weren't there wasn't much coordination there between Infamous, and I think that's the first time I've seen that in this game between them.
Yeah, not good communication there. I think also I was going to say before that was that you're also going to see now a power spike coming in from on Ed, who's got enough crystal. Once he gets that broken myth, once he gets a little bit maybe a crystal infusion, his ultimate is going to do some serious damage because Cassandra and Spaghetti have no shield right now, and even Swift only a little bit of shield on that fountain. So if he can hit all three of them, maybe after a stun from Catherine, focusing in on one player, they can turn the tide here.
Yes, and I think Infamous Legion are kind of a little bit standstill though. Every time they push, they're just kind of countered by Immunizer. They're not really getting anything from the pushing. So I think what they're going to have to do is just take control of that whole jungle.
Yeah, and not much vision either. So it appears they don't really fear an ambush from Sync right now, or Immunizer. So they're going to go ahead and take this gold mine.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen Immunizer even try and prevent that once. They know that that gold mine is a free gold mine for Infamous, but they can't really do much. They're a little bit they don't have the items and they don't really have the power to do it. So I think there's just that they're forced to stay at that turret.
And Glaive is, I think, having some connection issues. He gets melted.
Yeah, we didn't see much movement coming out from him, and he goes in very, very fast. This does leave Sync on Ed, and do we see that Bangarang coming out, moving Sync on Ed, and they're able to pick up the kill there, and that's going to be the ace there for Infamous Legion.
Absolutely melted, and you saw the reflex block coming late on that Bangarang. No excuse to have that late on that Bangarang. He came from so far away. It was so obvious he was going to come, and still reflex block too late. Glaive having some connection issues, I think, too bad, because I think, they still had a chance, but now it is clearly going to be GG. Maybe not this round, but definitely I think next.
Yeah, we see Glaive not coming out for all, and the Gauntlet's coming out, trapping the Vox there, but he's using his reflex block to get out that, and they're just going to be battering onto that turret, trying to finish the game. And we're seeing Upstar coming, but look at Spaghetti's health. I think that fountain, there wasn't a fountain there, so you can be alive. And this could be actually the counter ace for Immunizers. This can be handing them a lot of gold now.
They could go and take the gold mine here. It's going to pop here in about a minute, so they need to be quick. But I think they could still get it if they go for it. I'm not sure if they're going to just try to push the turret.
I think they should probably just push the turret at this point. That's me giving them a lot of gold, and maybe go for the and push the lane up, and then go for the gold mine afterwards. They could get the gold mine, both the gold mine and the turret, if they play this carefully.
Yeah, and Cassandra's got that Shadowglass now and the Clockwork, so you're going to be looking at him to be hitting a lot of his ultimates, maybe 2 in a team fight, so they got to be really careful about that. You've got reflex boxes in all the cases of Immunizer, so that's fine, but I think, having a couple connection issues from Glaive, he needs to get that sorted. He's got a Sour Blade and Blazing Salvo, no crit, so it's more sustained, but it doesn't have enough defense to really do sustained damage yet. So, again, he needs more defense. Spaghetti, on the other hand, who was soft on defense before, has now kind of shorn up his defensive holes, and he's got now that full Aegis and now building up armor.
Yeah, so the Kraken is now, and it would not surprise me at all if Infamous were just to go for this and try and finish that game off very quickly. I mean, that last turret is sitting at very, very low health, and that and the crystal is the only thing stopping them from winning this game. So the infusions are coming out.
I think they're going to go for Kraken just to put a final cap on it, but a steal here could kind of change things around. Cassandra just left.
Yeah, we're seeing Catherine just diving in with the Mercy Pursuit. Double silence, catching off the members, but it looks like they are going to finish the Vox down very quickly. And E-Sync looking very, very low on that Catherine. And I think this is going to be the ace there for Infamous. So I think this is going to be a game. They're going to finish off the Kraken, and they're probably going to just finish the game. The cooldown timers are, they'll be out before they get there. However, I think with the full power of Infamous.
Yeah, and again, you see Spaghetti just doing so much damage with the double infusions, and on top of that, just being super tanky. And so there's just really no easy target for them. Cassandra being kind of the easiest target, but, able to just stay back and, kite back a lot. And there goes the Bangarang again. So you're seeing just so much damage. I mean, Glaive is just getting melted.
Yep, that's the first game going towards Infamous Legion. Very quick game, 16 minutes. And so we'll have a quick look at the builds here.
Yeah, I think interesting that you see FermSwift getting so much weapon. I mean, in a way, it's like he could, because They just weren't challenged at all in this game. They weren't being pushed back. Obviously, that can backfire you in some cases, so you got to be a little bit careful. But I think he's pretty confident in his team. Cassandra also going with that alternating current, and the Shattered Glass did a really good job of pushing back Sync on Ed in the lane earlier, so his build didn't come out much later. The CS numbers in the end turned out to be actually fairly similar, but it was that early game that really hurts Vox if he can't get his alternating current fast enough. Spaghetti, I think, doing his part with the Oza, showing you guys why Oza is really strong right now. He went with Sorrow Blade first, got a little bit squishy and killed off. Then he went back and plugged in his weaknesses, getting some more defense. That really helped him. Breaking point here, not really needed. I think, what he probably could have gone for here was either, Bone Saw or something else, because then he would have a faster basic attack as well. But because the enemy's building out strong armor, so that's just something that you need to look out for later on. I think from Immunizer, the big part here is just low level, low gold, glaive too squishy, only a reflex block and a tier 1 armor. Immunizer with that early Crucible was fine, and then Fountain, but again, just low leveled, so Catherine was being targeted in some of the team fights, getting melted, not able to provide the team defense because he's dead already. So just a lot of problems in terms of that early game.
Yeah, so let's try and get into that second game as fast as possible.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just get the party ready. Right. Okay, so we saw the Fortress ban last time. We've been seeing a lot of Crystal Fortress today, and even in the past few weeks, it's become a bit of a thing. Do you think we'll be seeing a Fortress in this game?
Yeah, quite possible. I think they should ban it out though, because he's just so overpowering. That will leave then Koshka or Ozo up again, or even Blackfeather, who's quite strong. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and it looks like Immunizer's going to be picking up that Koshka straight away. Koshka's going to be, she's quite difficult to counter, especially if you're if you underestimate her.
But a great counter for Koshka is going to be that Sky. If they can pick up that Sky, Spaghetti, Sky is one of his mains, actually. So we should see some really good Sky play coming from him. And, if you want to fight against that Koshka, that's exactly what you want to pick, is that Sky.
Yeah. So I was finishing up the picks with the Ringo and the Catherine. So Koshka, Ringo, Catherine, that's a very potent early game comp there. This is very 1.12 or something, when it was very strong. And it's been, we've seen a resurgence in this comp again. It's been very strong recently as well.
The only thing I would say about this, the only caveat I would say, is when you have a Catherine instead of Arden in this team comp, you're going to have to be more offensively minded, which is fine because they're a very strong offensive team comp. But then on the other hand, if the enemy team, the opponents, are also really strong, then you might have a disadvantage because you won't be able to finish late team fights. So the longer the team fight goes, the more you disadvantage. If you can finish off a team fight early and quick with huge power spikes with this team comp, it's fine. And you can do that because Catherine can come in and stun, and then you can chain in all your damage onto that one target, and you can win that team fight. But, Arden is a lot more forgiving. He can extend the length of team fights for his team because he's got the Vanguard, and he can allow somebody to get away and then come back into the team fight. And that's what you might see him doing here. So somebody like a Sky with an Arden is really good pairing because Sky has that chains of the ABA combo. And if you can get two of those in a team fight, because you can go out and come back in, really, really powerful, and can delete the entire teams. So it's really dependent on how they play, how well their synergy is right now.
Yeah, and I think the problem is they've also, allowed Spaghetti onto that Sky, and Sky is one of Spaghetti's mains. I think very well known in SEA for it. So this could be a massive problem for them if they don't shut her down early.
Yeah, and you can see them picking up flares. They're really aware of Spaghetti coming in on them, diving into their bushes, and so they're picking up those early flares. And I'm pretty much can guarantee that they're going to try doing that at level 2. Cassandra on that glaive lane glaive is interesting. Easy to bully him out of lane as a Ringo. So I think what Sync needs to do is really make sure that he is taking away the farm from Cassandra and making him kind of potatoize in this game, and then they're going to have to rely on Spaghetti to carry a lot of damage, which will make their counterattacks a lot more.
And there's the gank coming in, the afterburn. You know, Ringo had no chance, and he goes down with that last swipe from Glaive there. So that's the first skill be going towards Infamous. A very nice gank there. I think they're trying to take advantage of it before E-Sync had the chance to get a reflex block.
Yeah, and you can see there, oops, sorry, not in on that counter gank. You needed that stun actually from Catherine to have any chance in Cassandra, but Cassandra with the afterburn on cooldown could have been an easy counter gank for them, but they weren't synced up.
Yeah, and I think we're just seeing a lot more of that, you know, just the whole team from Infamous coming up, just trying to gank Ringo over and over again until he is forced to spend 700 onto that a very early reflex block.
Yeah, but, you know, the early reflex block, the thing about reflex block is always good to have. A reflex block is always good to have. Early, you know, late, mid, doesn't matter. It's one of the most important items in the game, and as a Ringo, you should get it pretty much earlier rather than later, especially against his team comp. And so even though if he doesn't buy it earlier, it allows him to sustain and stay in and stay alive in the lane, which means he can get that farm.
Yeah, and looks like the gank in the jungle, a bit of a team fight in the jungle, the forward barrage hitting Sync on Ed, and we do see the E-Sync rotating down, so it's a bit of a 3v2 situation. It's not looking too good for Infamous there, but Spaghetti is actually able to pick up the kill onto Koshka, and Oops Sorry is looking not very good as well, but you know, I think they're going to get both Farm Swift and Spaghetti. You know, he can't really do anything.
Swift, is he going to get the kill here? Is he going to get the kill? The storm go down.
Oh my gosh.
He might get the kill.
He's got the kill.
Okay,
wow.
The MLT plays are real from Swift right now.
Yeah, well, look at him go. I was not expecting him to get the kill on both of them there. So very, very nice. Synchronized is jumping straight in, but Cassandra is here. You know, Firm Swift is going to be running away, but look at Sync's head, his health go down as Cassandra just hits him over and over again. The plays are incredible.
The One Punch Man has made return in the Asia region, and his name is Firm Swift.
Yes. So Firm Swift doing work there. You know, Spaghetti was going to go down. It wasn't looking too great for Firm Swift, but he was able to pick up the two kills onto Ringo and onto Catherine as well.
One of the best plays of the tournament I've seen so far. There's the flare from EA Sync. Spaghetti is now back, getting that full. Oh, sorry, running into that full barrage from Spaghetti. Yeah. That was a suicide dive if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, her Stormguard does not do much against the forward barrage, and I don't know why she was doing it. Maybe she was trying to hope for a stun, but either way, it did not work. Sync on Ed looking very low again. Also probably going to get this kill under Tart as well. So Infamous, they're playing a very, very aggressive game, and it's working out very well on them. You know, they clearly are very comfortable on these heroes.
Yeah, you're seeing really nice knockbacks from Glaive. You know, Glaive getting a lot of these really nice assists on his knockbacks. No reflex blocks from anybody, and so they're doing a good job of leveraging that and understanding there's no reflex blocks, and then going very aggressively at them. Yeah,
Koshka's jumping in. This is a good chance because Spaghetti is taking a lot of damage from the. Taking a little bit of damage there from the minions, but look at her go. You know, Koshka's the one that's losing out on these fights, and she's gonna go down.
And a lot of that is because Koshka can't get to Spaghetti because he can use that basic movement speed of Sky, which is superior to Koshka in a lot of ways, to just get away from that.
Yes, and Spaghetti's gonna be going home by now, but they are not before they pick up the kill onto Catherine there.
Yeah, and look at that. You can see Cassandra diving in and taking the full kiting damage from Sync, but Sync just not doing enough damage with only a weapon blade and a swift shooter in that last engagement. Wasn't able to pick up the kill on Cassandra.
Yeah, so we're at 5 minutes. It's 8-1 on kills. That's a lot of kills. That's like 2 a minute or something at this point. The Immunizers are playing a very aggressive comp, but they can't really fully aggress because every time they do, they are just losing.
And one of the things I have to do is point out the lack of rotations from EA. We saw one rotation from him on the engagement, but one rotation out of like 5 engagements is not good enough. He's a Ringo. He can rotate really fast, and he wasn't part of any of those fights earlier against Infamous Legion, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and we've seen him rotating up again. Oops, sorry, taking a lot of damage. Very nice afterburn there from the Glaive, but they weren't able to capitalize on their position Ringo at that point because they were focusing too much on killing that Cather. And Spaghetti, oh no, Spaghetti actually will be able to finish the kill, but not before Spaghetti goes down himself. So it's a bit of a 2v1 situation. Koshka here is full health. She could actually take on that Glaive and win, but I think they're just playing very cautiously at the moment here.
Yeah, Spaghetti, I think, just showing why people make fun of him sometimes because he makes these plays that just make you shake your head and cry inside a little bit and curl up in a corner and die. And that's kind of what that play did for me a little bit. He didn't need to dive in like that. I mean, he got the kill, yes, but he didn't need to dive in. Put his team at a disadvantage there. Now it's a 3v2 in the lane.
Yeah, very nice afterburn from Glaive there, just getting him out of, out of position. Sorry, repositioning himself so he's out of range from Ringo and Koshka.
Yeah, I think now just getting his Hellfire Brew would have been nice to have that earlier to use on Cassandra. If he gets a couple shots on Cassandra, he can finish up with that Hellfire Brew. But it looks like he's going to transport home for some reason instead of go down the jungle shop. I guess he's really wary of that lack of vision that they have in the tri-bush, so he's afraid of that ambush.
So one thing I would say is that, Koshka's actually managed to keep up with Spaghetti in terms of farm in the jungle, but over in the lane, there's massive discrepancy. So E-Sync on 29 compared to Cassandra's 55. We should, Yummy Cat and Frenzy coming out onto Cassandra. He is actually going to go down, but not before they finish off the Koshka. So just jumping straight into that team fight there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you need to keep in mind with Koshka against a character like Sky is if you do your ult on somebody, you're also a target because you can take damage when you are ulting. And if you're in one place like Koshka was, it makes it a lot of an easy target for a Sky to just put that full barrage on you. And that's why Koshka also got deleted there.
Yes, because he's kind of roaming through their jungle, just trying to see if there's going to be any creeps for her there. But it's a bit of a 2v1 situation. I'm not sure. He's actually looks like he's going to be trying for this. The forward barrage doing a lot of damage there onto the Catherine. And I think Catherine's got some lag issues. I've been noticing this a few times. Oops, sorry, just kind of stands there, not doing really much at this point.
Yeah, it could be some lag issues there. Also, I think, too, if you look at the builds, Cassandra's got that heavy steel 6 sins, going for that Sorrow Blade first, the Book of Eulogies. Looks like they're going to go ahead and go for that gold mine. Koshka does have that Aftershock, but not enough defense yet to sustain against that barrage, that massive damage from Spaghetti right now. Level 8 for both of them, so Koshka and Spaghetti the ones carrying their teams for damage right now, but, Cassandra getting some really nice knockbacks.
Yeah, so they were able to collect the gold mine there, 300 payout there, and Cassandra's taking a lot of damage from Ringo and Koshka, but, Firm Swift is there to save the day for Cassandra.
Arden has to use the gauntlet to help himself survive a little bit. Cassandra there kind of just to play steward and make sure his baby boy gets out safe, and he does. And Ringo's going to continue to farm.
Yeah, and we're seeing the same from Sky as well. He was the whole time he could have come up. I think he was just kind of more interested in getting his own farm and knowing that Glaive and Garden would get out of that.
An interesting early weapon infusion bot from Ringo, looking to just kind of bounce back against them. Here comes a nice back into Glaive. It's a 1v1. Reflex block too low, but he's going to use his boots to get away. Spaghetti not part of that engagement, but look at, going down underneath the turret. Koshka now only just rotating up. It's a 3v2 on the turret.
And very nice afterburn coming out, getting at Ringo out of position. He's already wasted his reflex blocks, so they know he's not going to escape. Looks like they won't be able to finish the kill, complete the ace, as Koshka is now the only one left alive running around that turret.
Cassandra doesn't have energy. He was waiting actually for his energy to come back so he could get another afterburn. He had 2 really good afterburns. That afterburn on Ringo knocked Ringo directly into the ultimate of Sky, so you can see just how good their synergy is right now.
Yeah, and they're able to pick up the turret at 9 minutes. Pretty similar to what we kind of saw last time. They got a very early first turret. So I think we're going to have to expect to see some bit more safer play coming out from Immunizers. Like I said before, we're not seeing much coordination from them. It just seems a bit, like they're all over the place.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, all the initiation, as I said in the beginning of the game, should come from Catherine, but Catherine, either it's leg issues or something is going on, not able to initiate any of these fights. So as I mentioned before, this team comp really relies upon strong early game initiations from Catherine, but we're not getting any of that. And look at Sync just taking the pummeling from Swift.
Yes, but Firm Swift is going for a Sorrow Blade himself, so no one.
There's the kill steal from Cassandra, you cheeky mofo, stealing the kill from Firm Swift. But, Firm Swift's in with that heavy steel and the 6 sins. That's why he's doing all this damage.
Yes, and I'm kind of curious to see if this is kind of his normal support build, or if he's just doing especially for this team. And the other Candidate Friends are coming out onto Spaghetti as well, but Spaghetti is actually going to go down, so is Cassandra, so it's a bit of a 1v2 situation with Firm Swift finishing up the kill onto Koshka. Oops, sorry, looks like Not really doing much at this point. Does look like lag issues, to be honest. Firmswift is definitely winning this skirmish, but he is going to have to back up using a very defensive gauntlet to get out of the way. But he's going back in and running out. What is he doing?
That was here comes the Hellfire Brew. Catherine falling up. Can he get the stun on? Nope. Nope.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive support play I'm seeing from Firmswift.
Yeah, I don't think this is his typical support. I would be really surprised if this was his typical support, because they basically don't have a support.
Yes, I mean they do have the fountain, but that is all the support that Firmswift is giving out at this moment in time.
Yeah, now he's also got this Stormguard banner, so he's going to be doing additional damage to heroes as well on top of his weapon items. So he may actually be doing close to the amount of damage that Glaive is.
Yes, you know, just a few hundred. I think he just used a few hundred. Yeah, like about 900 more gold.
The steal costs them Koshka, but here comes the ultimate from Spaghetti coming in, catches Oopsar. Oopsar melts. The Asing's going to melt, so they get an ace, but they lose a gold mine. So is it hashtag worth? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think it was actually that worth it. You know, they handed him an ace. You know, the way Infamous Legion have been playing, it would not surprise me if there's just a push for the turrets at this moment in time. We do see Spaghetti on that minion mine, so they're going to have very, very strong minions with both minion mines on their side.
Yeah, and you're seeing also, you know, Oops Sorry melting in a lot of these team fights, and that's a problem because you don't have your support to do team-based support, and that's going to be a big problem for them.
Yeah, that turret is going to go down. We see Koshka jumping in, but Spaghetti actually getting quite low down. But E-Sync, look at the damage going down from him. Glaive is down, but Spaghetti trying to finish off that kill onto Koshka, look at that Suri Strike into turret range there. I'm not sure if this is the best idea. We're seeing Koshka jumping in and actually dying to Spaghetti, even though Spaghetti was in a very bad position there.
Well, I mean, you're seeing actually good Sky players doing this a lot because they know that they have the combo of the ABA, the Barrage, and the Suri Strike combo to fall back on, and they know that it deletes, especially against a Koshka who has to come near you in order to do damage. I think it's actually more of a calculated risk that he took there, and they're so far ahead, I think it wouldn't have hurt even if he had died.
Yeah, you know, they've got 3 turrets down now, so I don't really know what Immunizers can do at this stage to come back from this. You know, the comebacks can happen. They've been nerfed slightly, but they can still happen. But do you see any chance of this happening?
Yeah, I mean, what they need to do here is, you saw how quickly Cassandra got melted because of lack of defense. If they can all focus in on Cassandra and melt Cassandra, which he can get melted, as you saw in the last battle, then they can go into a 3v2 situation, possibly then use your Roman Catnip Frenzy in on that Spaghetti, and lock Spaghetti down from doing any other damage. Or you can go the opposite way, using Yummy Catnip Frenzy on Spaghetti first.
Yes, but Spaghetti repositioning himself and Sync Koshka is going to go down. That's Ringo as well. Catherine is now the only one left alive in the team.
Self-used Fountain ain't going to do nothing, and this is going to be GG.
Ace.
Yeah, that is going to be GG. They're on to that last turret, which is going down very fast without any minions there. So I think this looks like the second game going towards Infamous Legion as well. Very, very short games compared to the other 2 games that we've seen today.
Yeah, and a lot of this has to come down to just not good decision making. Immunizer, not leveraging an early game, not focusing on the right people, letting Spaghetti just run around and kill everybody. You know, Ringo not part of the team fights. Just looked like they weren't together a lot. Whereas, you know, you're facing a team that not only has individually high skill, but plays together all the time and has really good synergy and teamwork. So, you know, teamwork can trump individual skill. I believe that anyways. So Immunizer could have brought this, you know, had their teamwork been a lot more together.
Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the builds there. So, you know, we've been marveling at this Firmswift build, the Sora Blade, the weapon damage, kind of the lack of support items apart from the Stormguard and the Fountain. But, you know, it worked for him. It worked very well for him.
Yeah, and then you've got the breaking point for Cassandra with the Sorrow Blade, picked up at the very, very end, so it wasn't really part of the fight at all. But, you know, Cassandra's main point here was to do knockbacks. And if I would have said anything, I would have just told Cassandra, look, get yourself a Sorrow Blade and build the rest of your build out just super tanky so that you can just do a clockwork and just do knockbacks day after day, you know, all day long, because those knockbacks were just absolutely wrecking Immunizer, and that was one of the big reasons why they couldn't get their act together, because they're just getting knocked back all the time. Very, very good focus. You saw a combo chain done very well, probably the best I've seen in SEA right now, where you had a knockback, and then you had a death from above right on top, and that just absolutely wrecked Ringo. Spaghetti with the standard sort of build, I think for Spaghetti it's more his ability to reposition and get his combos of his Barrage and Surrey Strike that really deleted. I think Immunizer on their side, Ringo with the standard build here, not too much defense, but with 79 CS, who can blame him? Doesn't have a lot of gold. The problem with him is his rotations in the early game. No rotations whatsoever, helping Infamous to really take away that early game gold and farm away from Koshka, who really needed it to build out that Aftershock. Koshka with a decent build here, just the initiations, no chance to initiate the late game. Damage fell off, jumping in. That Yummy Catnip Frenzy used on Arden in that last team fight, not really sure why. And Catherine on their side going with the Fountain and Atlas Pulveron, but the problem with Catherine there is the low level, and hence getting deleted out in the fights really early, not able to provide that team defense.
Okay, so I think that's it for the analysis for today. We will be taking a 5-minute break before we go into the last game of today between PRDX Insomnia versus Team The. So that is, our last match of today. We'll be doing a quick 5-minute